But our main focus is on Aquascape design, custom builds, and maintenance. In today's video, we're taking on our very first client, an old friend who commissioned a 60 centimeters tank build. Since a 60 centimeter tank is pretty compact, he just brought his empty tank over, and I'll rescape it completely from scratch. We're also keeping it at our studio to grow out for about a month. That way, we can avoid the common early stage issues, like massive algae blooms or plants struggling to adapt to a new setup. Step 1. Laying down the base substrate. For the base layer this time, I'm using volcanic rock granules. It works pretty much like power sand, both helping improve water flow and aeration in the substrate bed. You can think of it as a budget-friendly alternative to power sand, except it doesn't contain the extra nutrients power sand provides. I make sure to keep the volcanic granules about 2 centimeters away from the front glass. That way, from the front view, you only see clean aqua soil, though black volcanic rock isn't too noticeable anyway. When leveling out the volcanic base, just use whatever tool feels comfortable. A soft brush or a triangle ruler both work great. Right on top of the volcanic base goes the aqua soil. For this build, I'm going with a triangular composition, mainly because of where my friend is placing this tank. The back and left sides are against walls, meaning it will only be viewed from the front and the right side. So the flow of the entire scape naturally slopes downward toward the right and front. Here, I'm using green tape to mark out where I want to attach the moss. Some spots on the driftwood get intense direct light, so we want to tie moss right on those exposed areas. Because under strong lighting, if you leave the bare wood uncovered, those highlight spots will easily grow unsightly green algae. Also check for any unnatural cut marks. You often find those on driftwood branches, things like flat sawed-off ends, that look overly artificial and geometric. We definitely want to cover those with moss. Once the moss fills in, it hides all those unnatural cut surfaces completely. And for very thin twigs, if you want to give them more presence, tying a bit of moss on them makes the branches look fuller and thicker. You don't necessarily have to use tape. A marker works fine too. Once marked, you can pull the wood out to attach the moss, which is much easier to work with. You don't need a thick layer of moss at all. I usually tie just a thin, sparse amount. Once it starts growing, it spreads and covers the wood quickly. This time, I'm using biodegradable moss cotton thread. Some people prefer using superglue, but personally, I'm not a big fan of glue. It leaves white residue on the hardscape that's really tough to clean off later. Now let's place the wood back into the tank. First, give the aqua soil a good spray to moisten it. For the foreground, I'm planting Glossostigma. Among all carpeting plants, Glosso is easily one of the fastest growers and one of the easiest to keep healthy. Moving to the transition zone between foreground and background, basically the midground area. Though on a 60 centimeter tank with only 30 centimeter depth, space for a midground is pretty tight. Here I went with Ludwigia arcuata. It doesn't grow overly tall, and it brings a nice contrast in color. Under proper care, it turns intensely red, creating a striking pop against the bright green glosso up front. For the background, I planted Rotala first, followed by Rotala green. And right in front of the Rotala green, I added some Ludwigia glandulosa. The Ludwigia glandulosa doesn't just offer great color variation. Its broad leaf shape also contrasts beautifully, with the fine-leaved Ludwigia arcuata and Rotalas nearby. This gives the whole scape much more depth and texture. Plus, placing it in the middle of the background sits it right near the golden ratio point. When filling up the tank for the first time, I quickly drained the cloudy water halfway and refilled it. That clears up the water super fast. And there you have it. Planting is all done. That covers the full design and build process for this 60 centimeter tank. Stay tuned, because in about 10 days, this tank should start filling in nicely, and I'll make a follow-up video to show you the progress. Thanks for watching, everyone! In the last video, we covered the setup of this 60 centimeters aquascape after about a couple of weeks of growth. Taking a close look at the tank, you can see this entire glass area is covered with green dust algae. This is usually the warning sign for green water. If left unchecked, it can quickly turn into full-blown green water with a foul odor, and even with daily water changes, it just turns green again overnight. The best solution here is running a UV sterilizer. UV sterilizers work wonders for clearing up green water. Next up is trimming the plants, both the midground Ludwigia arcuata and the background Rotalas. Why scrape algae without turning off the filter? Well, honestly, we're confident we can easily clear this up. Now, a lot of people struggle with cleaning tank corners. Whatever you do, never use an algae scraper blade in the silicone corners. Scrapers can easily cut and damage the silicone seals. Instead, use a soft bristled toothbrush. And yes, this is a brand new one I bought, not a used one. For trimming this time, we need to shape the stems along our triangular composition. People often ask me, how do your scapes always hold their exact shape? When you say triangular, it looks like a triangle. When you say U-shaped, the sides form perfect rounded plant mounds. The truth is, it's all done through strategic trimming. For instance, I'll cut from here, from the highest point down to the lowest. Just trim along your envisioned slope. The right side stays lower, the left side stays higher. And front to back, the front stays lower while the back slopes upward. See how the shape forms? The highest point sits right here in the back left, and the lowest point is right here on the right, just slightly taller than the foreground. One big tip, don't ever be afraid to trim your stem plants. I hear this all the time. I worked so hard to grow them this healthy. I just can't bring myself to cut them. But letting them grow wild causes problems. As the old saying goes, prune the tree or it won't grow straight. Right now, these Rotalas are growing straight up as single stems. By trimming them once, you remove apical dominance. Once the top shoot is gone, 2 new side shoots will sprout right below the cut. So with just one trim, your stem density instantly doubles. 1 stem becomes 2, 2 become 4. On the next trim, cut slightly above the previous cut line. Has grown out for a full month now, and it's looking mature and pristine. It's finally time to deliver it to our client. Before transporting an Aquascape, drain out as much water as possible, the drier the better. Then use bubble wrap to gently secure the driftwood in place, and seal the top tightly with plastic wrap. Also, make sure to protect the tank's corners during transport. Has grown out for a full month now, and it's looking mature and pristine. It's finally time to deliver it to our client. Before transporting an Aquascape, drain out as much water as possible, the drier the better. Then use bubble wrap to gently secure the driftwood in place, and seal the top tightly with plastic wrap. Also, make sure to protect the tank's corners during transport. And that wraps up the successful delivery of this 60-centimeter tank build. Big thanks to our client for trusting us, and thank you all for the amazing support. In the next video, our team will be building A custom aquascape for a huge ADA fan. See you then.